Hi guys, Mr. P's here again, and we are now on week 8, lesson 2, so your Tuesday lesson. So, as I talked about at the start of the week, yesterday's session, this is all about skilling up on core English skills, and today's focus point is sentence mastery. Okay, so today we're going to work out to master full sentences itself. We're going to talk about SVO structure, subject, verb, object structure. And number 2, we're going to talk about clauses and phrases. Okay, so a faux sentence needs a subject, a verb, and an object. For example, subject is the person, place, or thing carrying out the action. A verb is an action. An object is the thing to which the object is carried out. The verb is performed upon the object, if you like. An example would be, the man opened the door. It would be really worth you pausing the video here and writing down the bits on that slide: subject, verb, and object. Okay, so in that example sentence, the subject is the man, and that's because that's the person in this case carrying out the action. Opened is the verb, the action that the man is performing, and the object is the thing which is being opened, which is the door in the case below, as you can see from the color coding itself. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is have a look at these 5 sentences or fragments. Okay, I'd like you to identify which are the faux sentences, which are the ones that have a subject, a verb, and an object, and therefore count as a faux sentence. I'll just read all 5 to you, and you can pause the video and have a go. Number 1, the black fluffy cat. Number 2, the elephant protected its calf. Number 3, she hurried to the shops. Number 4, a blue table. Number 5, at the end of the day. Now pause the video and write down the ones, only the ones that you think are faux sentences. I have a subject, a verb, and an object. Okay, so moving swiftly on. So on the left here on this slide, all the ones written in black are non-examples. Those are not faux sentences. They are non-example sentences. Okay, on my way home, into the air, waiting for his reply. Loves vegetables, arrived at school, into the clouds. Okay, so they're missing some core bits. All right. So what I'd like you to do is, I've done the first 2 for you, but for 3, 4, 5, and 6, I would like you to turn them into example sentences. Here's my example. On my way home is the fragment or the non-example sentence, and the example is I am on my way home. Okay, so what we have there, what we've added is the subject I, and we've also added the verb am. So we've now got a subject, or object, a verb, and an object. Okay. Likewise, for the second example, into the air. We're missing the subject and the verb there. So we've added the subject now. The cat leapt into the air. So we've got the cat who's the subject, the leapt is the verb, and the object that the verb has been performing to is the air. So now what I'd like you to do is pause the video and the remaining 4 non-example sentences, write them out and turn them into example sentences. Okay. So again, remember that a full sentence needs a subject, a verb, and an object. 5 sentences here. Write down the verbs in the following sentences. Just note there can be more than one verb in some of the sentences, okay? Pause the video here and write down the verbs in all of the 5 sentences. Okay, just a reminder, we'll go through the answers at the end, guys, okay? So you can check your accuracy there, all right? And remember, the verb is the action itself. Okay, likewise, on these 5 sentences, what is the subject? Remember, the subject is the person, place, or thing that's performing the action, performing the verb, carrying out the action itself, okay? Pause the video here. Write down the subjects in the following sentences. Okay, so the next part, the next 3 or 4 slides after this get a little bit more complicated, talking about clauses and phrases. Have a quick look at them itself, and pause the video, have a quick look at them, and if you think if you're uncertain, return to this task instead. Okay, what I'd like you to do here is identify, and you can just write down the 4 full sentences in this paragraph. So of all of these sentences, or non-example sentences, a few of them are, which ones are full sentences? Which ones have a subject, a verb, and an object? Okay, I'll just read it to you, then you can pause the video and write them down. The teacher walked into the room. The pen's on the table. He picked up a pen. The teacher put the pen in the drawer. Students with uniform on. They all sat down at their desks. Tasks on the board. Okay, so which of those in that paragraph are the 4 full sentences? All right, and well done if you did that, and that's a good level of challenge for you. Good times. Okay, if you want to carry on in a bit more nuanced detail, looking at sentences, look at the next few slides. So, another rule: sentences are made up of clauses. One SVO unit, subject, verb, object unit, is called a main clause. Extra detail added to a main clause is called a subordinate clause. For example, main clause, he was on his way home. That could be a sentence in its own right, okay? He, the subject, was the verb, home is the object, okay? Subordinate clause, when he saw an old friend. That one there is added to that main clause, an extra bit of detail, and that's why it's a subordinate clause. But it still has the same SVO unit, okay? Because we've got the he, which is the subject, we've got the saw, which is the verb, and then we also have the friend, which is the object, okay? Sentences are made up of clauses and phrases. A phrase is another part of a sentence which either doesn't have a verb or doesn't have a subject. An example would be in the garden. This is a phrase because it doesn't have a subject or a verb, okay? So what I'd like you to do now is copy the lines below and label them as to whether they're a clause or a phrase. Okay, I'll just read them to you. So lots of pencils, number 1. 2, bears with fur. 3, the teacher shouted. 4, trees sway in the wind. 5, a red apple on the desk. So the question you're asking yourself is if they don't have a subject or a verb, then they're a phrase, okay? If they have a subject and a verb, then they're a clause. Okay, pause the video now, write them out, and just add the word next to them, clause or phrase. I'm going to go through the answers to all of the stuff for today's session in a second or two. Okay, answers. So, which of the 5 were full sentences? The answers were number 2 and 3, and I'll explain why. The elephant protected its calf. Elephant is the subject, protected is the action the elephant is performing, and the calf is the object, the thing that the verb is being acted upon. And number 3 was also correct. She is our subject, our verb is hurried, and the shops is the object, the thing that's being hurried to, the action being performed upon. All the rest are phrases, okay? They lack the subject or the verb. So, random pop-up window. Okay, so turn them into examples. So what we needed to do there, you saw my 2 examples and I asked you to turn the other non-example sentences into sentences, okay? We needed to add the subject for the third one. So for example, she was waiting for his reply. Right, so we had to add the thing, so you had to add the person that was carrying out the action. Likewise for the next one, loves vegetables. We've got our verb and we've got our object. What we don't have is our subject. So we added Barry. So you could have had he, she, any other names or whatever. Okay, elephants, whatever. Okay. Arrived at school. Yet again, what we have there, we've got our verb arrived. We also have our object, which is the school. What we don't have is the subject carrying out the action. So I'm gone for the bus, but you could have put he, she, you could have added a pronoun, you could have added a name or various other bits and pieces, okay? The final one, however, what we really have is just the object, the clouds. What we need to add to it is the subject and the verb. The plane flew into the clouds, plane being the subject, flew being the verb. Again, you had various different choices there. That's hopefully gives you a sense of whether you got it right or wrong. Okay, the verbs. So anything that's an action that's being performed. Okay. So shone for number 1, daydreams for number 2. Number 3, we've got damage, causing, and disturbing. All of those are actions that are being performed by the subject visitors. Okay. Number 4, publish. Number 5, depend. Okay, the subject are as follows. Ben in number 1. Number 2, it's car. Number 3, it's tall point. Number 4, it's I. That's the person who's performing, who threw the ball, if you like. And horse for number 5. Okay, so if you did this next task, which is the full sentences, the ones highlighted red there are the correct answers. The teacher walked into the room. Subject, verb, object. He picked up a pen. He, subject, verb, picked, pen, object. The teacher subject, put. Okay, we've got our verb there. And then we've got pen itself, okay, for object itself. Okay, they all sat down at their desks. It was the 4th final full sentence. Okay, and if you did move on to the clauses and phrases one, then just to be precise, number 1, lots of pencils is a phrase. We don't have a subject or a verb there. Number 2, bears with fur. We don't have our verb there, so it's just a phrase. The teacher shouted. It's a clause. Whilst it doesn't have an object, we've got our subject and our verb, so it counts as a clause itself, okay? Trees sway in the wind. That's a clause as well, because we've got our subject, trees, we've got our verb sway in the wind. If we had a full stop, it's actually a full sentence, yeah? So, and number 5 is a phrase, because we don't have a verb there. Okay, right, hopefully guys, it's given you a bit of a slightly a more mastered grasp of subject, verb, object units and the difference between a clause and a phrase. See you guys tomorrow. If I can just actually get this video to stop.